I'm really excited to start reading Ian M. Banks' Culture series. Everyone says it's one of the best sci-fi series out there. But one thing I heard a lot was not to start with Consider Phlebas, the first book in publication order, for a variety of reasons. But I figured, what do I know? I'm definitely going to read them all anyways, and story-wise, they're all more or less standalone books. So I decided to read them in publication order. I have a very fleeting history with the series in that I used to always see use of weapons in the paperback spinners at my local library growing up, and for whatever reason I never picked it up. But I always kind of wanted to, I just never got around to it. So I guess it's finally going to happen for me in 2 books. So up front, apologies if I'm pronouncing any of these names wrong. I didn't listen to the audiobook. I actually read a physical book. This one actually, this is the book I read. So anyways, Consider Phlebas is the story of Bora Horza Gobachul, a changer, which is a sort of humanoid shapeshifter who's aligned with the Idirians, a race of 3-legged, 3-armed aliens who are engaged in something of a holy war with the culture. The culture seems to be a big tent of people, humanoid and otherwise, post-scarcity and very technologically advanced, not terribly interested in fighting a war, but also not particularly interested in being subjugated. They have massive, ridiculously massive ships and very advanced AI minds that are basically a recognized form of life. Despite their advances, the culture finds themselves on unsure footing in the war as the book starts. So an AI mind escapes destruction in a hastily built culture ship, and before the Idirians destroy the ship, the mind manages to escape destruction again and is believed to be hiding out on a neutrally held forbidden planet, Shar's world, which is controlled by some kind of energy being called a Draezon, which doesn't like to be disturbed. This is where Horza comes in, the guy the book is about. Remember him? He's from Shar's world, where a colony of changers live at the mercy of the Draezon, who the changers refer to as Mr. Adequate. Horza left the colony to find his future among the stars, eventually, like most of his people, falling under the jurisdiction of the Idirians. The Idirians, of course, are very interested in getting their hands on the mind that's hiding out on Shar's world, and quickly deduce that Horza is just the man to get him. So they rescue him from the horrific death he was about to experience in his current mission. So once rescued, the ship Horza is on is attacked by the culture, and he's thrown into a spacesuit and kicked out into space. Horza is quickly picked up by some mostly neutral privateers, and his mission is underway. If you're enjoying this video, why not buy my book? Flight of the Pangolin is the story of an intrepid group of heroes who decide to exit the solar system over the objections of an isolationist faction. There's actually a lot more going on than that. There's space pirates, a giant spider for no reason, all kinds of other things. Buy it now online wherever you buy books or at our website, www.thepangolinrepublic.com. You can also get fun t-shirts and random other stuff if you want. The book is a seemingly endless series of episodes in Horza's adventures. The pacing ends up being pretty unrelenting as Horza goes from one ridiculous situation to the next. There's a few breaks where a culture tactician named Fal Nagistra, a young woman far more interested in mountain climbing but laid up with a broken leg when we meet her, analyzes the current state of play in chapters called State of Play. But ultimately, this is Horza's story, and his fortuitous meeting with the privateers on the ship Clear Air Turbulence leads to a wide variety of set pieces, from heists gone wrong to card games gone wrong, with all sorts of the usual pirate infighting in between. The story ends with a battle of wits and lasers against a pair of Idirians with their own thing going on, and more talk about trains than I've ever read in a science fiction book. So the fact that I was able to summarize the book in a way that was incredibly detailed but gave no significant plot spoilers, is that a positive or a negative? Maybe it's just a sign of a complex and fully formed setting. So I like this book. I thought it was perfectly okay as a standalone, like its own thing. Even better knowing that there was more of the culture to come. Upon completing the book, I'm not surprised that it isn't as highly regarded. I can see Banks is well on his way to being an amazing writer, and this book is very well written, but I can also see a lot of room to grow from here, too. And there is a pacing issue, which I'll get to in a minute, or 5. The characters are really good. Horza is a great choice for a protagonist. As a changer, he's an acute observer of character details, and as an enemy of the culture, he has every reason to be honest about his opinions on it. We learn a bit about him and the changer civilization, but Horza spends most of his time observing others. Some of the privateers, like the dangerous human Captain Craiglin and the humanoid Yalson, get enough time to stand out, but some of the minor crew only get a character trait or two to distinguish them. But I get it, the book is long enough as it is. The non-humanoid characters are also pretty neat. Between Horza's experiences and the Adirans we meet during the course of the book, we get kind of a well-rounded sense of their cult civilization and their side of things. The culture minds are a bit more abstract, but they're also well represented. Banks gives us the sense that it's a very full galaxy, teeming with whatever kind of intelligent life you can imagine. Speaking of imagination, Ian M. Banks definitely put in the work. I'm having a hard time not cracking open his book of sketches. I'm trying to avoid spoilers, but anyway, I like his writing style so far. There's a dash of J.G. Ballard mixed with just a pinch of Douglas Adams that gives everything a slightly perverse gloss. The first chapter really demonstrates this combination of horrifying and ridiculous, but I'm not going to read it here. It's pretty gross. The whole book isn't gross or anything, but from the jump there's the feeling that Banks isn't going to hold back from anything if the story requires a brief respite from the bounds of good taste. So, pacing. This book was firing on all cylinders until the last 100 pages or so, where our characters spent an awfully long time wandering in train tunnels. I'd gotten really used to quickly moving from one setting to another, so I felt like the pacing slowed down, and even though elements of the plot were ramping up to compensate, I feel like the last act felt a little bit drawn out. But overall, I really liked the book. Did I love Consider Phlebas? No. But I still think it was pretty okay. Will my opinion change after reading the rest of the culture books? Probably. So stay tuned to find out, though my TBR schedule is going to take a while for me to finish the series. But I am looking forward to the journey.